He told himself the static was normal. That cameras sometimes flicker, especially old ones. But when he paused the footage at 3:13 a.m., there were two men in the hallway and he knew only one had entered. Stay till the twist. Wes had been working the graveyard shift at the underground data center for almost a year. It was the kind of job most people couldn't handle 8 hours in a concrete bunker, alone, surrounded by servers humming like distant bees. No windows, no fresh air. Just the constant low whir of machines and the occasional flicker of fluorescent lights that needed replacing months ago. But Wes didn't mind. In fact, he preferred it. After the incident with his brother, silence had become more than comfort. It was penance. The facility, buried 30 feet beneath a nondescript office park, housed backups for banks, hospitals, government systems data no one could afford to lose. That meant around-the-clock monitoring. There were 8 security cameras, each one pointed at a different hallway or server cluster. His only job was to watch, listen, and log anything out of place. Most nights, nothing happened. At 2 a.m., he'd microwave his sad little dinner. At 4 a.m., he'd do a round through the aisles of blinking server towers. At 5:55, the elevator would ding and the day shift guy, Jeff, would arrive. Wes would nod, hand off the clipboard, and disappear into the sunlight like a ghost. But last Tuesday, something changed. It started with camera 4. It was the hallway closest to the sub-panel room, the one nobody went into unless there was a power surge. Wes had just finished logging server tong when camera 4 glitched. It wasn't the usual pixel shimmer or white noise burst. This was different. It jerked almost like someone grabbed it, and for 2 seconds, the screen went completely black. When the feed returned, he paused. There was a man standing at the end of the hall. Wes sat up. No one had entered. No doors had opened. He checked the log, no motion alerts, no keycard swipes. And yet, there he was, middle of the frame, standing still. Back to the camera. At first, Wes assumed it was a glitch. Maybe a delayed frame or a software artifact. But then the man moved slow, deliberate. Not toward the server rooms, not toward any exit, just to the left, disappearing off-screen. Wes stared at the monitor. 10 seconds. 20. Nothing. He rewound. Watched it again. There was no sound, of course, but something about the man's posture set his teeth on edge. The way his head tilted too far. The angle of his shoulders like a puppet being held up by strings. Wes rewound again and paused at the clearest frame. The man looked familiar. Not in the way strangers on the street do, but in the way your own reflection feels familiar. The shape of his back, the slope of his neck. Wes felt a dry lump rise in his throat. He leaned in. The timestamp read 3 hours 13 minutes and 7 seconds. He printed the frame. The rest of the shift passed in a fog. When Jeff arrived, Wes didn't speak. He took the printout home, tucked it into his notebook, and tried to sleep. But the image stayed with him, that figure in the hallway, the impossible arrival, the gut-sure feeling that something had been watching him for weeks. The next night, he came in early. At 10:45, he was already scanning footage from the previous week. Nothing, no similar glitches, no appearances. The system was airtight, 2 steel-reinforced doors, biometric locks, every inch on camera. There was no way someone could enter unseen. And yet, Wednesday, the same glitch. Same time, 3:13 a.m. This time, the man faced the camera. Wes didn't scream, but his whole body recoiled. Because there was no denying it now, the man on the screen wasn't just familiar. He was identical. The same hair, same crooked nose, even the faint scar above the left eyebrow, barely visible in the shadow. Wes stared at the image like it had personally betrayed him. The copy didn't blink, didn't move, just stared. At 3 hours 13 minutes and 22 seconds, the feed glitched again and the man vanished. Wes reviewed every camera angle, every time stamp. Nothing, no doors opened, no motion detected. He checked the biometric logs. Only his fingerprint had accessed the system that night. He was alone. Or he was supposed to be. He didn't tell anyone. Who would believe him? Instead, he saved the footage, locked it behind an encrypted file, and then he sat alone in that humming, freezing room, staring at the blank hallway on camera 4, waiting for 313 to come again. It did. Thursday night, 3 hours 13 minutes and 6 seconds. The glitch came early. This time, there was no slow entrance, no lingering. The figure appeared mid-frame, facing away. Wes leaned forward. The man turned. He was smiling. It wasn't a normal smile. It was wide, stretched, almost painful looking. The kind of smile you'd expect from someone who wasn't used to having a face. Wes felt bile rise in his throat. He hit pause, printed it, compared it to the earlier stills. The face was changing. It was still him, but exaggerated, off, the eyes too round, the skin paler. Like someone had traced Wes's features from memory and gotten lazy halfway through. He didn't go home that morning. He sat in the break room and stared at the photo, then deleted it, burned the prints in the sink. He told himself he was being paranoid, sleep-deprived. Maybe it was a virus in the system, a deepfake hack. Something explainable. But Friday broke him. 3:13 a.m. The glitch lasted longer 4 full seconds. When the feed returned, the man was standing directly in front of the camera, face inches from the lens. Wes froze. The figure's mouth moved. No sound, but it mouthed something. 3 syllables. Let me in. Wes slammed the monitor off. He paced the floor. Drank cold coffee. Checked the biometric logs again. Still only him. No one else had access. And yet, each night, something wore his face like a mask and came closer. It wasn't just mimicking him anymore. It was studying him, becoming him. Saturday, Wes brought a hand mirror to work. He didn't know why. Maybe he wanted to catch the difference, to prove the thing on camera wasn't really him. Every hour he'd check his reflection, compare it to how he remembered himself. He started noticing things. His eyes looked duller. His skin felt waxy. He caught himself moving strangely, pausing in doorways, tilting his head just so. Once, he stood in front of the break room mirror and smiled, and it looked just like the thing in the video. That night, he disabled camera 4, but it didn't matter. Because at 3:13, camera 1, the one watching the entrance hallway, glitched. When the feed returned, the man stood there again, smiling. Wes ran to the hallway. It was empty. He walked up and down the corridors, breathing fast, every nerve on fire. He whispered his own name out loud just to hear something human. The silence felt heavier now, like it was listening. Like the walls themselves were waiting for him to leave. Sunday he stayed home, slept, dreamed of mirrors. In one dream, he was locked inside a room while someone with his face walked away. He woke up gasping. That night he almost didn't go in. But something compelled him, a need to see it again, to understand what it wanted. 3:13 came. Every camera glitched. When they came back, the figure was in all of them. 8 different angles. 8 versions of him. Wes lost it. He screamed, ripped the monitors from the desk, pulled the hard drives from the tower, and stomped them until the fans snapped. The lights flickered. The servers roared louder, as if offended. In the distance, a low thud echoed once, then twice, then a third time, rhythmic, like footsteps on steel. He backed into the elevator, punching the button. But it didn't move. The panel was dead. He tried the emergency call, silence, and then a hum-like static bleeding through a speaker. The doors opened. No one was there. He ran, down the hallway, through the server rooms, past aisles of blinking lights that now pulsed red, not green. The whole building felt wrong, tilted, like the floor was breathing beneath him. He reached the exit stairwell and shoved through. Each landing was darker than the last. Each bulb flickered and died as he passed it. On level B2, he stopped. He heard breathing, not his. He turned. At the bottom of the stairwell, standing in the shadow, was the figure, pale, smiling, its head tilted like a marionette waiting for strings. Wes bolted up the stairs, 2 at a time, reached the top floor, slammed against the exit door. It didn't open. His badge didn't scan. He banged on the steel until his hands bled. No answer. Then he heard a voice, not from the stairwell, from behind him. I'm already out. He turned and saw nothing. The lights went out. When he woke, he was lying on the break room floor. Morning light seeped through the tiny window in the locked fire exit. Jeff stood over him, confused. Dude, you good? Wes sat up. His head throbbed. His mouth was dry. The footage, he had to show Jeff the footage. But the computers were fine. No broken drives, no ripped cables. And when he checked the logs, all the footage from the past week was gone. Wiped clean. Jeff looked at him like he'd lost it, so Wes left. He never returned. Quit by email. Moved back to his hometown, got a job at a coffee shop, started over. But every night, he covered his mirrors. Every night, he checked the locks 3 times. And every night, at exactly 3:13 a.m., he woke up cold, sweating, and certain someone had just stepped out of the room. Last week, he installed a camera in his apartment. Yesterday morning, he reviewed the footage. At 3:13 a.m., the bedroom camera glitched. And for 8 seconds, he wasn't in bed. But something else was, smiling, looking directly at the lens. Then it mouthed the same 3 words. Let me in. He thought the creaking was just old plumbing, but the sound always stopped when he turned around, stay till the twist. I never liked the bathroom in my new apartment. Something about the mirror bothered me. It wasn't the frame. It was simple enough. Cracked at the corner, dull with age, but the space between looking and turning away, that brief second. That's when the footsteps started. The place was cheap, and that should have been a warning top floor unit. No neighbors, and the landlord was too eager to hand over the keys. I moved in because it was quiet, isolated, perfect for working through the mountain of editing gigs I'd taken. I told myself I liked the silence, the stillness, but the silence had weight here. It pressed against your ears at night. It felt like the building itself was holding its breath. The first time it happened, I just finished brushing my teeth. I rinsed, wiped my mouth, and turned off the faucet. I looked at myself. My face was pale in the dim yellow light, tired. My eyes locked with my reflection. Then I turned to leave. A single soft footstep behind me whipped around. But there was nothing. The room was empty. My own breath echoed back at me. I told myself it was the sound of the tile cooling. Or maybe I'd just imagined it. I went to bed. It happened again the next night and the next. Always the same the moment I turned away from the mirror. I heard it, a single footstep, gentle, almost hesitant, as though someone were following me, but unsure if they were allowed to after a week. It wasn't just 1 step, 2, sometimes 3, and always behind me, perfectly in sync with when I broke eye contact with the mirror. I started experimenting, standing at the sink, turning my head slightly. No sound, only when I turned fully, shoulders, torso, everything away. Did it come? I stopped using the bathroom at night. During the day, it didn't happen. I could shave, brush, rinse, and nothing. It was only at night, when the hallway was dark, when the bathroom light was the only one on. Casting my silhouette into the doorway, I started leaving the light on in the hallway, then the kitchen eventually. I stopped using the bathroom. Mirror altogether, I'd brush my teeth at the kitchen sink, shave using my phone camera, anything to avoid that space. Then one night, I woke up needing to piss. It was 3:11 a.m. The apartment was freezing, my throat was dry. I considered holding it until morning, but the pressure was too much. I went in without turning on the light. The window let in some of the city's glow, enough to see shapes. I kept my eyes on the toilet as I flushed. I caught a glimpse of the mirror. My reflection was already facing me. Though I hadn't looked yet, it was subtle, a trick of the light. Maybe, but the face in the mirror wasn't mine, not entirely. The tilt of the head was wrong, the eyes too wide, the mouth slightly open. Like it was about to say something but forgot the words. I turned fully toward it. My reflection snapped into place. Just me, pale, still tired. I backed out slowly, not turning away that night. I slept with the lights on, and in the morning, I bought a bedsheet and taped it over the mirror. The silence returned. But now it was worse, like something waiting every time. I walked past the bathroom. I felt its weight like eyes behind fabric. I caught myself listening, waiting for the sound of movement. A cough, a whisper. Nothing came until I got the letter. It was slid under my door. No stamp, no return address, just a folded page. You shouldn't have covered the mirror. That was it. I searched the hallway, nothing, just the dim light. The chipped paint. I knocked on the neighbors' doors, but none answered. Either they weren't home, or they didn't exist. I'd never actually seen another tenant on this floor. I removed the sheet. Mirror was the same, still cracked, still dull, but now I saw something new, a handprint, faint, fogged, like someone had pressed against it from the inside. I wiped it away. It came back the next night. I decided to record. I'd set up my old camcorder, the kind with night vision, and pointed it directly at the mirror. I left it running and went to bed. In the morning, I reviewed the footage. Hours of nothing. Then, at 2:46 a.m., a shape moved across the reflection. It didn't match anything in the room at all. Thin figure, blurry, like it was behind fogged glass. It moved toward the edge of the mirror but never stepped out. The moment it reached the side, the recording glitched for a full minute. The screen went black, then static, then silence. The timestamp resumed at 2:49. Nothing more happened. I watched it again and again, tried enhancing the image on my laptop, couldn't make out a face, just the posture leaning forward. Curious, almost eager, like it had spotted something it wanted or someone that day. I called the landlord, no answer. I tried the office number, the emergency line. Even emailed, nothing. I checked the lease. No company name, just a signature, eHarrow. I looked it up, no records, no listings. Like the building wasn't owned by anyone. I started noticing other things. My toothbrush was wet when I hadn't used it. Cabinet doors were slightly open when I knew I'd closed them one night. I woke to find my bedroom door ajar. I always lock. I began to feel watched, not just in the bathroom, everywhere. The reflection had bled into the rest of the apartment. I'd catch shadows in the TV screen, glimpses in the toaster. I stopped using anything reflective, but you can't avoid your own reflection forever. The night it escalated. I was washing my hands. I decided to face it, to stand in front of the mirror, look into it, and not turn away. I stared at myself. Hard, my eyes, my mouth, the tension in my shoulders. I held the gaze. Minutes passed. Nothing moved. Then the reflection blinked. I hadn't. It was subtle, but it happened. Then it smiled. I didn't. He stepped back. My reflection stayed still, smiling. Then it reached up and touched the cracked corner of the mirror. I turned and ran. I locked the bathroom door and shoved a chair under the knob. That night, I dreamed of water, endless, dark water. I was floating, weightless, surrounded by mirrors, all showing different versions of me. Some were crying, some screaming. One was laughing. That one reached out through the glass. When I woke, my pillow was wet, not with sweat, with water, cold, still dripping. The bathroom door was open. I left the apartment that morning, took a backpack, my laptop, and went to a cheap motel across town. I didn't go back for 3 days when I returned. The mirror was gone. In its place was a perfectly smooth wall. No sign it had ever been there. Not even the crack in the tiles where the frame used to be. I checked the floor. No broken glass. No debris, just a note taped where the mirror had been. Now, we're closer. That night, I heard footsteps again, but not in the bathroom, in the hallway, then the living room. Then right outside my bedroom. I didn't sleep the next day. I bought blackout curtains and covered every window. I unplugged the TV taped paper over the oven glass, the microwave, every reflective surface. I even covered my phone camera with tape, but he still found ways in. He saw him in puddles on the street. In my eyes and spoons, he was always smiling, always standing just behind me. The real twist happened a week later. I invited my brother to stay over. I needed someone else to see it, to tell me I wasn't losing my mind. He humored me, listened patiently. As I explained, he thought it was stress, lack of sleep, maybe a break from work would help. I didn't tell him the full truth that night. I left the mirror uncovered, told him to brush his teeth there, just to see what happened. He laughed, went in, and closed the door. 10 minutes passed, then 20. No sound, no response. I knocked, no answer. I opened the door slowly. The bathroom was empty. No mirror, no brother, just a single wet footprint on the tile. I ran to the hallway, screamed his name, searched every room. Called the police, filed a missing persons report, but they found no signs of forced entry, no signs he'd even arrived. Building security footage was blank from 1002 to 1011. Exactly the window when he disappeared. I told them he was taken by something in the mirror. They didn't believe me. No one ever does now. I don't sleep. I don't eat much. The apartment has grown colder. The lights flicker more often. I hear footsteps. Even when I'm in the kitchen, even in daylight sometimes. When I pass a window at the right angle, I see two shadows, mine and his. He's still smiling, still standing just behind me, waiting for me to look, waiting for me to turn.